Okay, so I've been doing some thinking since the last video, trying to explain why I know that I should do it a year, and it's because interest rates are almost always advertised as annual interest rates. They give you your annual interest rate. Although we don't use annual interest rates very much, we immediately convert them to some other length of time. But for simple interest, it's almost always an annual interest rate. It doesn't say that in this problem, but it's implied, I guess, just because that's how financial jargon works. So that's how I know to do this in years. Now, for this problem, question number 8, I figured out why they're giving us 365 days as a year, because here they've given us the length of time that we're going to have our loan is going to be 180 days. Well, 180 days is not a full year. So we're only going to be doing part of the year. So we have to take this 180, the part that we're going to keep it, and put it on top and put 365 on bottom so we can figure out what fraction of the year we're keeping it. And then use our calculator to do that math. Here's the calculator. I did $13,500 times 0.12. I changed the 12% to a decimal. And then the length of time is 180 days out of 365. That puts it in terms of a year. The part over the whole. What part of the year am I having my loan, and how many days does it take to make a full year? So that's why they give us that information. Sometimes they don't use 365. Sometimes actual lending institutions use like 360 days, or it just depends on how they want to define it. And don't ask me to tell you why they sometimes don't do 365, but they don't. So anyway, you type this in, and $798.90, rounding money. You use your rounding rule. There's your 2 decimal places. This 4 is telling me to leave my 0 a 0. So 798.90. My interest is $798.90. 798.90. 798.90. Do not round in the final, and do not round until the final answer, then round to the nearest cent. Okay, I did that right. So the fact that they told me right here not to round until my final answer is why I typed that 180 over 365 into the calculator. I would just bet that if you do 180 divided by 365, you get a lot of decimals, and if you round that decimal, it's so, like, let's say you take the 0.49 and you do this multiplication right here, and instead of doing the 180 over 365, you use the 0.49, you're going to get a different. Let's just do it. If I take 13,500 and multiply it times 0.12, and then multiply that, let's say we did 0.49, 2 decimal places. See, now we get $793.80. That's a $5 difference. That's a rounding rule. That's a rounding error. So that's why they said do not round into the final answer, which is why I left it 180 over 365. Okay, so this is asking for the loan's future value. So I'm going to show you the formula, but I'm also going to make sure you understand you don't have to have that formula. The future value just wants you to take your principal and add your interest to it. So you can totally continue to use that formula, I equals PRT. And the only reason that I say this is because for some reason, some students find this easier to do it into 2 steps instead of just using one formula. I don't care how you do it as long as you know how to do it. So if we just do the same formula that we did a while ago, we would find here that the interest on $8,000 at 4% interest, so I'm going to multiply that times 0.04 times 6 years. The interest would be 8,000 times 0.04 times 6 is going to be $1,920. So at the end of 6 years, you don't pay back $8,000. You have to pay back $8,000 plus your interest. You pay back principal plus interest. That's your total repayment, or they're calling it the future value of your loan. So we're going to take those two numbers, and I think that's $9,920. Now, I will show you the other formula, but this, I'm going to show you that this is oh gosh, I lost it. 9,920. So 9,920. So that is the correct answer. That is not the only way to work the problem. If you look at your formula slides, where are they? Calculating future value, here it is. So this formula right here, and there's actually two formulas, this formula and then the one more, this formula will just find that total amount. You find the interest and you add it to the principal all in the same time. So if you did a little, let me see if I think I can draw on this. If you do a little arithmetic right here, I guess it's really algebra. If you distribute that P, this formula becomes A equals P, because P times 1 is P, plus PRT. Well, isn't that exactly what this is, your interest formula right here? Maybe you can't see that. This is your interest formula, and this is your principal. So if you take your principal and add your interest, you get this formula. They just rearrange the order in which you do things. I don't care how you do it. I just need you to be able to do it. But I will show you that if you take that formula and you do the same thing right here, you take your future value, and again, on other places we don't use A. We would literally use future value, but they're using A, so I'll use A. A times the principal times 1 plus RT. The amount that we're finding is our principal, which is $8,000, times 1 plus our rate, which is 4%, times our time, which is 6. So we're going to do 8 times, and then you're going to do that math right there. So 0.04 times 6, I believe, is 0.24. I'm going to grab my calculator real quick. So, and I'm about to mess up. That's 8,000 times 0.04 times 6 is 0.24. So add 1 to 0.24 and you get 1.24. And now you multiply 8,000 times 1.24 and you get 9,920, which is exactly what we got. So you can use this formula, you can use this formula, or you can continue to use that formula and just remember to add it to your interest to get the future value of your loan. Either way is fine with me.